Everywhere you look, the message is the same. You must find your purpose. This relentless search for a prepackaged meaning, a hidden blueprint waiting to be discovered, has become the great spiritual quest of our age. We buy books, take courses, and stare into the middle distance, desperately hoping that the universe will send us a sign, a definitive answer to the question, why am I here? But what if this entire quest is a misunderstanding? What if the search for a pre-existent purpose is the very thing preventing you from living a profound, powerful life? The problem with searching for purpose is that it assumes your value is external, something hidden out there that must be unearthed. It turns you into a passive excavator, waiting for permission. The truth is far more terrifying and far more exhilarating. Purpose is not found. It is created. To break free from this search, we turn once again to the ferocious wisdom of Friedrich Nietzsche. Nietzsche taught that the highest human achievement is not the discovery of meaning, but the bold, painful, and glorious act of becoming what you are. This famous phrase is not a contradiction. It's a command to realize the unique potential and chaotic necessity that already defines you, to make yourself an artwork. This journey demands that you stop asking what the world expects of you and start asking what you must demand of yourself. It is a reversal of values, a call to internal sovereignty. In this video, we will walk through 4 essential steps in Nietzsche's method for abandoning the futile search for purpose and mastering the difficult process of becoming what you are. These steps will lead you from passive searching to active creation, transforming your life from a question mark into a definitive, powerful statement. Let's begin the difficult work of self-creation. Step 1. Become the destroyer. Shatter the idols of inherited purpose. The first, and perhaps most frightening, step on the path to becoming what you are is the fundamental, uncompromising act of assuming the role of the destroyer. Before you can create your own purpose, a meaning that belongs solely to you, you must systematically dismantle the false inherited purposes that have been imposed upon your life. This process demands a profound act of intellectual, moral, and spiritual liberation, the destruction of the prefabricated scripts, the convenient values, and the moral dogmas handed to you by your family, your culture, and society at large. Friedrich Nietzsche championed this iconoclastic role. He was the philosopher of the hammer, a tool he wielded not for mere demolition, but for testing the soundness of idols. He understood that the vast majority of people do not live their own lives. They live a life of consensus, operating by a table of values written by others, the herd. These adopted values often parade as universal, self-evident truths, but in reality, they are often mere historical accidents, pragmatic social conveniences, or subtle spiritual chains designed to keep the individual docile, predictable, and comfortable. The very modern anxiety about having to find a pre-existent purpose is itself one of these idols, suggesting that the meaning of your life is external to your own active will. To truly become what you are, you must first clear the field of these comfortable lies. This process begins with radical genealogy, the critical, relentless questioning of the provenance of every core belief and value you hold dear. You must ask, why do I genuinely believe a successful life must involve a 6-figure salary, a specific religious observance, a particular structure of relationship, or an approved political ideology? You must trace these deep-seated convictions back to their source. Did they emerge from a raw, deep-seated, life-affirming yes within your own solitary spirit? Or were they merely adopted out of fear, social convenience, or the desperate, infantile need for the acceptance and applause of others? The ego will resist this destructive phase with every tool at its disposal. It prefers the safety and predictability of established norms, even if they are fundamentally stifling and lead to quiet despair. The ego is the master of inertia. It will fight viciously to protect the cozy comfort of the shoulds and oughts. It will whisper that questioning your inherited purpose is selfish, dangerous, arrogant, or doomed to lead to social failure. But Nietzsche insists that this demolition is the ultimate act of spiritual and intellectual honesty. Without it, you are condemned to be a mere echo of your upbringing, perpetually constrained by the opinions of the dead or the suffocating expectations of the weakest and most conforming members of society. When Nietzsche made the dramatic declaration that God is dead, he was not simply engaging in theological argument. He was stating a monumental cultural fact, the collapse of the foundational, universal, and external source of all purpose and meaning. The world is now without an objective map. The terrifying consequence of this death is also the greatest opportunity. We are left alone to become the conscious, willful creators of our own values. The moment you fully grasp that there is no hidden, pre-written script, that the moral weight and purpose of your life rests entirely on your shoulders, is the exact moment when true, self-willed creation begins. This realization is the gateway to sovereignty. This destruction is emphatically not about nihilism or despair. It is about clearing the slate for a more profound affirmation. You are not destroying for the sake of destruction, but destroying the false, adopted, and life-denying so that the authentic, life-affirming, and unique can finally take root. You must become the free spirit, the one who has intentionally unbound their mind from the chains of tradition, convention, and moral conformity, even when those chains were made of gold. This hard-won liberation allows you to see the world not as it is supposed to be, but as it truly is, a neutral, indifferent canvas awaiting your active, self-willed meaning. The crucial work of the destroyer means facing the emptiness, the anxiety, and the temporary disorientation that inevitably rush in when the old gods fall. It requires the immense courage to sit with the terrifying freedom of the open road, knowing that every value, every commitment, and every goal you adopt from this point forward must be sanctioned, upheld, and perpetually justified by you alone. This foundational step is arguably the hardest. You must break what you were taught to revere. You must ruthlessly question what you were told to believe. And you must dismantle the comfortable psychological architecture that defined your past. Only once this fertile ground is cleared is the space available for the seed of your true, self-created purpose to be planted. Step 2. Heed the great reason. Listen to the wisdom of the body and instinct, having successfully wielded the hammer to shatter the idols of external purpose. The next challenge is to locate the authentic source of purpose within. This brings us to step 2. Heed the great reason. Listen to the wisdom of the body and instinct. If you are to become what you are, you cannot rely solely on the rational, calculating mind, which Nietzsche called the little reason. That little reason is too easily corrupted by societal conditioning, anxiety, and the very external values we just sought to dismantle. The true guide, the compass pointing toward your unique destiny, is the body, what Nietzsche called the great reason. The great reason is the sum of your instincts, your deepest passions, your innate talents, and the unspoken biological and psychological necessities that comprise your unique constitution. It is your inherent temperament, your energy flow, and your involuntary, visceral reactions to the world. For Nietzsche, the body is not a cage for the spirit. It is the ultimate expression of the will to power, a complex, ordered system driven to constantly overcome and elevate itself. The modern search for purpose is often a purely cerebral exercise. We sit and think, trying to logically deduce our calling, trying to find a neat job title or a predictable moral stance that fits a rational model. But this bypasses the very source of creative power. Your true purpose is not a thought. It is a deep, somatic inclination. It reveals itself not in abstract contemplation, but in the moments when your body feels most alive, most energized, and most focused, those moments of profound, effortless exertion that psychologists later called flow. To heed the great reason, you must learn to practice a deep, almost archaeological self-awareness. This requires moving beyond intellectual analysis and paying meticulous attention to what your body affirms and what it rejects. What activities leave you feeling depleted and resentful, even if society calls them successful? What tasks, even if difficult and requiring immense focus, leave you feeling energized and more fully realized afterward? These visceral reactions are the subtle pronouncements of your will to power, telling you where your deepest creative potential lies. Nietzsche understood that the individual of sovereign purpose acts from a place of integrated instinct. This is not animalistic indulgence, but the highly disciplined channeling of powerful, primal drives toward sophisticated ends. The artist, the scholar, the entrepreneur who truly excels does so because their deepest instincts, their joy in difficulty, their need for solitude, their capacity for relentless focus, are perfectly aligned with their chosen pursuit. They are not following a purpose. They are enacting their deepest self. This step is an implicit rejection of the herd's mandate to suppress instinct. Society often demands that you starve your natural inclinations and prioritize comfort, safety, and routine over your innate vitality. The great reason rebels against this. It demands that you honor your unique hierarchy of drives. If your highest instinct is toward creation, then your purpose is to create, regardless of the financial cost. If your highest instinct is toward radical truth, then your purpose is to seek and speak it, regardless of the social cost. The act of becoming what you are is fundamentally an aesthetic one. It is the process of giving style to your character. And style cannot be copied from a textbook. It must be the sincere, unadulterated expression of your deepest nature. Therefore, stop searching the skies for signs. Stop asking experts for formulas. Turn your attention inward. Feel the difference between the tasks that crush your spirit and the activities that expand it. Your purpose is not waiting to be found in a philosophy textbook. It is waiting to be expressed through the disciplined, conscious affirmation of the chaos and genius already residing in your blood. The great reason is speaking. You must learn to listen. Step 3. Embrace self-overcoming. Build purpose. Through the resistance, you have shattered the idols of inherited purpose. Step 1. You have tuned your ear to the great reason, the wisdom of your body and your deepest instincts. Step 2. Now comes the crucible, the moment of action where purpose is not merely conceived, but forged. This is Step 3. Embrace self-overcoming. Build purpose. Through the resistance. Nietzsche's most famous and perhaps most misunderstood concept is the will to power. This is not the vulgar desire for domination over others, but the fundamental, biological, and spiritual urge to become more than you currently are. It is the restless internal engine of growth, which manifests as the constant striving to overcome one's former self. True purpose is not a fixed destination on a map. It is the intensity of this continuous act of self-overcoming. The modern search for purpose often ends in a fatal trap: comfort. People confuse purpose with finding a niche where they are appreciated, comfortable, and face minimal struggle. They want a purpose that solves their problems. Nietzsche, however, insists that a life of true purpose is one that actively seeks out and embraces higher, more difficult problems. The moment you stop overcoming, you stop living in accordance with the will to power, and your purpose begins to decay. Therefore, the core task of this step is to deliberately seek out resistance. The resistance is where your purpose finds its shape. A sculptor does not create by avoiding the granite. They create by confronting its hardness, by using the hammer and chisel to force their will upon the unyielding material. Your life is the granite, and the resistance, the difficult training, the terrifying risk, the internal conflict, is the very material you must use to sculpt the self you are becoming. Consider the athlete who pushes past the burning threshold of muscle fatigue, or the writer who faces the paralyzing blank page day after day. Their purpose is not found in the comfortable, steady routine. It is revealed in the moment of intense pressure, when they must choose to endure and elevate rather than retreat. This is the ultimate expression of the will to power, the drive to organize, master, and impose one's form upon chaos, both internal and external. The ego, naturally, will fight this. It views resistance as an obstacle to be avoided. It champions efficiency, ease, and the path of least opposition. It will tell you, That goal is too hard. You will fail and be humiliated. Choose a simpler, safer purpose. This is the voice of the spirit of gravity, the force that tries to weigh you down and keep you tied to mediocrity. To become what you are, you must learn to defy gravity by choosing the hardest path that aligns with the instincts you identified in Step 2. Self-overcoming is not merely self-improvement. It is self-creation. It demands that you establish your own hierarchy of difficulties. If your instinct tells you your purpose lies in mastery, then you must define the highest, most demanding standard for that mastery, and ruthlessly commit to it, regardless of the world's opinion. This act of self-legislation is what elevates the individual beyond the herd. You are establishing your own personalized criteria for success, making yourself the ultimate metric and the ultimate challenge. This process also requires an affirmation of pain. The deepest, most transformative growth is always accompanied by suffering. The pain of leaving behind an old, comfortable identity, the agony of disciplined repetition, the fear that accompanies risk. The searcher for purpose tries to find meaning that alleviates suffering. The Nietzschean creator finds meaning in the suffering itself, recognizing it as the necessary tax levied by growth. This leads directly back to amor fati, the loving of one's fate, which is not mere acceptance of what happens, but the active, willful affirmation of the difficulty, viewing it as a necessary ingredient for the person you are becoming. To enact Step 3, you must stop seeking the path of least resistance and start seeking the precise resistance that your unique nature requires to fully express itself. You must continuously set a higher barrier for yourself. The purpose you are becoming is measured not by how much you possess, but by how much you have overcome. The success of your life is the degree to which you have managed to impose your highest values and your unique style upon the chaotic facts of existence. Your life is a sentence that must be written with courage and difficulty. The will to power is the pen. Self-overcoming is the ink. Write a sentence that is worthy of eternal recurrence. Step 4. Give style to your character, the art of willful necessity. You have completed the essential. Difficult work. You broke the chains of external opinion. Step 1. You listen to the deep, honest pronouncements of your inner nature. Step 2. And you embrace the arduous, continuous action of self-overcoming. Step 3. This brings us to the ultimate step, the grand culmination of the Nietzschean method. Step 4. Give style to your character, the art of willful necessity. The purpose you were searching for is not an object you found. It is the style you now consciously impose upon your life. For Nietzsche, the highest form of human existence is the aesthetic one, the individual who takes the chaotic, messy, and arbitrary facts of their existence and molds them into a unified, coherent, and beautiful work of art. This is what it means to become what you are, to harmonize the necessities of your nature with the conscious will of your spirit. To give style to one's character means ruthlessly selecting, editing, and composing every aspect of your life, your habits, your emotional reactions, your professional path, and your moral framework, until everything expresses a single, distinct, and unique flavor. You stop being a passive collage of influences and start being a deliberate composition. This requires that you look at your weaknesses, your failures, and your misfortunes, and instead of trying to eliminate them, you learn to frame them. You turn your defects into your strengths by recognizing how they are necessary components of your unique power. This final act of purpose creation is rooted in willful necessity. You look at everything that has happened, your trauma, your setbacks, the gifts you were given, and the limits you possess, and you affirm them not just passively, but actively. This is the highest expression of amor fati. It is the realization that the necessity of your past is the very raw material needed for the will of your future. Your purpose is not something that would exist regardless of your past. Your purpose is inextricably dependent on the full, difficult totality of your life story. The individual who has given style to their character possesses sovereignty. They are no longer reactive to external events. They have their own standard of value, their own hierarchy of judgment, and their own tempo. Their purpose is not susceptible to the whims of the market or the fickle praise of the crowd because it is entirely self-referential. They have achieved the state of the Übermensch, not a superhuman being, but a person who has overcome the merely human limitations of resentment, herd morality, and external validation. This final step transforms the way you encounter the world. You are no longer searching for purpose. You are enacting it. Every day becomes an opportunity to demonstrate the style you have created. When a challenge arises, you don't ask, "Is this part of my purpose?" You ask, "How must the person I am becoming, the person who embodies this unique style, respond to this event?" Your purpose becomes a constant, dynamic philosophical commitment, not a static job title. To practice this, you must engage in a constant process of self-mastery as artistry. Cut out the inessential elements that clutter your life and blur your unique outline. Be severe in your selection of friends, environments, and activities. Cultivate the virtues that harmonize with your unique, great reason, and prune away the reactions that undermine your established style. Your life must become a testament to the truth that purpose is the courage to be oneself, fully and without apology. The purpose you were searching for has been here all along, waiting not to be found, but to be summoned into form. It is the necessary tension between what you are and what you must make of yourself. Stop looking for an easy, comfortable answer. Embrace the glorious difficulty of making your chaotic existence a willful masterpiece. Become the creator of your own value. Become what you are. We began this journey by challenging the fundamental myth of the modern age, the passive, unending search for purpose. Guided by Nietzsche, we've transformed that search into a dynamic, terrifying act of self-creation. We learned that purpose demands the hammer first, shattering the idols of inherited values. Step 1. It requires an honest, intuitive commitment to the whispers of the great reason, the wisdom of your instincts. Step 2. It must be forged in the relentless fire of self-overcoming, built through embracing the most difficult resistance. Step 3. And finally, it culminates in the sovereign act of an artist, where you give style to your character, making your life a necessary, beautiful, and self-affirmed work of art. Step 4. The ultimate lesson of becoming what you are is that your life is not a mystery to be solved. It is a sentence that must be written. The responsibility is crushing, but the freedom is absolute. The purpose is not waiting for you at a finish line. It is in the courage and clarity with which you take the next step. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for a sign. Take up the hammer, listen to your blood, set a higher bar for yourself, and begin the masterpiece. This is the meaning of true strength. This is the creation of your inner citadel. Thank you for joining me on this profound journey into philosophy and the architecture of the self. If this call to self-creation resonated with your deepest instincts, please subscribe to the Inner Citadel and join our community of free spirits. Until next time, stop searching and start becoming.